Still processing the events of yesterday, of course, which you're seeing beside us. Yesterday on the Young Turks, we did effectively the entire 2-hour show was exclusively about the incident in DC, the storming of the Capitol, the siege of DC, whatever you want to call it, the insane extremist violence that we're seeing there that left 4 people dead in the end. I've talked at length about my thoughts about what happened, but Rashad Richey, I wanted to get your reaction to what happened yesterday.
Here's what went down yesterday. On January 6th, 2021, a group of terrorists who were radicalized by a leader known as Donald J. Trump decided to shut down democracy. And they did this with an intention of stopping the actual certification of a constitutionally mandated process known as a presidential election through the 1877 Electoral College Act. These individuals are not protesters. They are not simply an angry mob. They are in fact domestic terrorists. And I would add this to that conversation. A terrorist is an individual who utilizes criminal violence and intimidation in order to seek a political agenda. That is exactly what these terrorists did. And believe me, if their last names would have been Muhammad, it would have been a bloodbath on that Capitol step. But they were given the benefit of the doubt. And here's something else that I think is important for all of us to analyze as Americans. The government was well aware. Social media was well aware. We were well aware that these rallies were taking place at the US Capitol and capitals throughout the country. Why is it that law enforcement did not have a SWAT team on standby like they did with Black Lives Matter? Why is it they did not have a contingency plan to create a coalition of law enforcement agencies to step in if necessary, like they did when Black Lives Matter protested or the Million Man March was there? There was literally more security for the peaceful Million Man March than it was for these violent terrorists.
Exactly, yeah. Like that was the most shocking thing. Like there are some people that were shocked that Trump has violent radicals who support him. That doesn't make any sense to me. Or were shocked that this crowd wanted to do that in DC. I don't think that you get to be shocked about that either. But one thing I think is justifiable to be shocked about is the fact that, as one tweet I saw said, I hadn't known this whole time that the Capitol was guarded by 6 gas station attendants. But there's nobody there. During this massive rally, Trump spoke this morning and told those people to march on the Capitol, and they're like, yeah, no, like put Fred and maybe Joe can be on standby, and I think we'll be good. And it's such a lack of preparedness that, right or wrong, like a lot of people wonder if it was intentional. And when they see the video of things like the gates being purposefully opened up to let the protesters in, that certainly seems like they're intentionally giving access. And it's not to say that there weren't cops who, like 14 cops got injured. We can see them fighting and trying to stop the protesters in a number of cases. But we can also see them taking selfies with them and opening up the gates. And it's all highly suspicious considering how dangerous this was. You could have had a member of Congress get injured or killed yesterday. That could have happened. More people could have died. 4 already died. 2 bombs were brought. And the cops have confirmed those were not non-functional bombs. They could have exploded and killed people. And so that they could have actually stolen the electoral college ballots. So thankfully that didn't happen. And there could be other lingering damage that we don't know about yet. And so a lot of people, I think, have very justifiable questions about why the National Guard wasn't there, why the Capitol Police weren't prepared. Was this just being insanely blind to what we all knew was coming, or was it a purposeful thing?
And it may be a combination of both. I definitely believe that there's this sense of, well, nothing's really going to go down like that, right? There is this agreement among executives in law enforcement that they did not need to prepare for something criminal or something violent. When the truth of the matter is, you don't have to be a gumshoe, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to know, based on Twitter, these guys said they were going to do acts of violence. So if I can have access to that information from people who said, I'm going there to do A, B, and C, why is it they didn't take those threats seriously? And I want to remind everyone Roughly 2 years ago, there was a black female having a mental health episode at the Capitol. She was driving her car. Her baby was in the car. They didn't ask questions. They didn't utilize other tactics to stop the vehicle. They put bullets in her and killed her with the child in the car because they said they could not take a risk that she had a bomb or something else was going on. They killed her. No questions, no repercussions. And I'm not saying that cops should go around killing people just to kill them or just because they can. What I'm saying is you show restraint when the skin happens to be white. Show that restraint for my black and brown brothers and sisters also.
Exactly, and with some of the video of the cops retreating up the stairs inside of the Capitol building and all of that, like people were incredibly suspicious of that. I personally think some of those, once they're in, it could be described as de-escalation tactics. But then we can acknowledge that, oh wait, so the cops do understand the concept of de-escalation. I
have never seen that de-escalation tactic in my life. I talked about this on air. I have never seen a cop literally be armed with 3 people in front of him that don't seem to be armed, running away from them as they charge him, running up flights of stairs, telling them to stop, giving them commands, and you not even draw your weapon whatsoever. I have never seen that type of de-escalation tactic before.
Yeah, and look, it's possible that cop, like that was one instance right there, was incredibly scared that were he to fire on a couple of the members of the crowd, the rest of the crowd could have swarmed him and killed him. It's possible that he could have been scared of that. These are insane, violent terrorists, obviously. Yeah. But if they know how to do this, how about we see that employed in other situations where it's not against a person holding a Confederate flag? Like, could you de-escalate against people who aren't wearing shirts with slogans about how not enough Jewish individuals were killed in the Holocaust? Or is it just anti-Semites and racists that get the de-escalation? For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.